We're doing some TIG welding on titanium today. It's a 1G test, very similar to something you would do for an aerospace welding job. It's 046 titanium, 6AL4V, commercially pure filler wire. I'm going to be using two different size cups and one weld without pulse, one weld with pulse. Should be fun. Let's do it. I'm going to do two different test plates today. The first one using this new Furick cup. It's a ceramic JAZZY 10, and I'm going to be using straight current, no pulse, amperage set on 38 amps with the foot pedal all the way down for most of the joint. Obviously I'll be tapering up and tapering down on the first in the beginning. Second joint I'll be using pulse settings with this larger cup. It's a Bbw cup. It's a new design from Michael Furick with a brass insert. I've been welding with this thing for a while now, and I have decided to offer it for sale on my store. I will also be welding both of these plates out on this awesome back purge fixture built for me by D17.1 Adam Booth. Now you can go see that playlist of building this fixture on his channel, and you can also click a link in the description of this YouTube video. It'll take you to a web page where you have downloadable PDF drawings or how to build this fixture if you're interested. So this stuff measured out almost 47 thousandths, and a good rule of thumb is not to use bigger wire than the thickness of the sheet metal you're welding. So I'm using the same size wire as the thickness of the sheet metal here, and that worked out pretty good. Now for a welding test that a job might depend on, you want to put your best foot forward. You may not be this stringent on a titanium exhaust or anything. It never hurts. But I'm wiping the wire, I'm wiping the material down with acetone before I ever even get started. And that's to get rid of any oils. I don't want to smear any oils in on this stuff. And then I'll clean the edges with a brand new clean file that hasn't been used on anything else. And when I think I've filed it enough, I file it a little bit more. Then I use a new clean stainless steel wire wheel, preferably a low speed wire wheel. I put it on a drill motor for this. And then another acetone wipe, preferably with lint-free cloth. I was just using paper towels here. Didn't have any lint-free rags or lint-free wipes. Now I've got these spacer pieces here to kind of block some of the argon, so make it purge a little bit better. And I'm also going to be using some spacer pieces, next to the test pieces, just to make the clamp bars hold down better. A fixture like this accomplishes two or three things. Number one, it provides backup gas to the back side of the weld. Number two, it provides a lot of chill factor, pulls heat out of the weld, and it prevents distortion. A lot of times your plate has to stay straight for testing purposes. This is the new JAZZY 10 cup in stock now at weldmonger.com. I've been testing it out for a while now before I finally decided to add it to the store too, and I think it's a great addition. For a number 10 cup, you'd be surprised at the stick out that you can use and the shielding that you can get. So I'm going to be using roughly 15 CFH on the backing on the fixture, and for this 10 cup between 20 and 25, like right about 22 CFH. And when you're purging, whether it's stainless steel pipe or whether you're doing an aerospace test like this, a dual flow meter is a necessity. I say it's a necessity. There are workarounds with Ys and everything, but I think a dual flow meter is the way to go. Alright, so like always, when I'm doing a test like this on sheet metal for aerospace, I put probably larger tacks than what most people do on the very ends, usually. Depends on what material type it is. But usually I'll put 2 or 3 or 4 little dabs and build it up a little bit, because it'll give me a little safety net, a little dam on the end to weld to and to weld from. I'm getting a couple of really small tacks midway here too, because I'm going to weld all the way from one end to the other without stopping. I don't want this thing to pucker up on me too much or move, so a couple extra little small tacks, making sure to hold the post flow over them while I tack them. And also I didn't even hardly use any filler metal on those. I just had it in my hand in case I needed it. So here we go. Starting off on that tack, you can see it gives me just a little time. I watch it run back halfway through the tack, and then I motor on. I didn't blow the end away. Now there are provisions in the D17.1 code for messing up the end, which I don't really agree with, but I don't want to blow the end away anyway, no matter if it's allowed or not. You can see that number 10 is doing some serious good shielding there. Titanium will let you know if you got good shielding or not. Titanium, really, when it's nice and clean and you've got good gas shielding, it really does flow like honey. It's easy to distinguish puddle The only thing is the rod can be a little sticky. You can't just slam the rod all willy-nilly all around the puddle. You pretty much got to put it very precisely right in there where it's wet on the puddle. You know, it just makes you be a little bit more careful than, let's say, stainless or nickel. All right, here we come up to the tack now. You can see the benefits of having a larger tack here. I can watch the front of that puddle run halfway into the tack, and I know it's fused and blended and 100% penetrated from end to end that way. And I hold the post flow over here. I've got about a probably 11 or 12 second post flow going. With that fixture, you don't need much. Outside of a fixture, I'd need more post flow. But you can see that's a pretty much color-free titanium weld with a number 10 cup, largely due to the awesome fixture that A-Bomb built for me. Now, this weld looks pretty decent. Obviously, there is room for improvement. The reason they x-ray these things is because you can't tell by looking what's wrong with them. A decent looking weld can be loaded with porosity. That's why they shoot them and don't just do a visual on them. A weld like this can look like this on the x-ray film, just loaded with buckshot. And the ones that generally give the most problems are the horizontal, the 2G welds. Usually it'll be linear porosity on those, but it usually rears its head on aluminum, titanium, and magnesium if you have to do a horizontal weld. Okay, up next. This is the new Design Bbw Cup with the brass insert. I tried it out for a long time before I decided to offer it on the store as well. It is a number 16 cup, requires around 30 CFH, but it provides a heck of a big blanket of argon for things like titanium. When you need it, you need it. When you need a long stick out along with good shielding, it's the ticket. Now I'm using a Dynasty 280DX today for this, which is honestly is a really good machine for aerospace type stuff. But they've got what they call pro settings in here, and I'm going to be using them for this next joint. 100 pulses per second, 25% background, 40% on time. That's what I'm going to try. That's what they call their pro settings. That's what I'm going to try on this joint. Now, higher pulses, like 100 pulses a second, tend to focus the arc. It's not annoying to look at. You do notice a little, kind of a little flutter, and it sounds a little bit like you're welding aluminum, even though you're welding DC, just because of the pulse. Now, sometimes you get a benefit from it agitating the puddle, and it lets you move the puddle along at a faster rate because of that. I'm not sure. I've never done any testing on titanium to see if high-speed pulsing is beneficial for x-ray results. I just wanted to demonstrate this cup today, and also I'm just curious on how their pro recommended settings will work on this. Okay, so I'm not going to show the whole thing here coming off the tacks and everything like I did before, but we'll skip into the middle of the joint here in just a second. You can see what 100 pulses a second looks like. It doesn't look much different than straight current with no pulse at all, but definitely a difference in the sound. Like, again, it sounds kind of like you're welding aluminum. I find that high-speed pulse, like 100 pulses a second, or even actually anything above about 33 pulses a second, is not too annoying to look at and provides a benefit when you're welding near an edge or on an edge, or if you're trying to fill in a hole, a gap. I find it helpful for that. Not completely necessary, just somewhat helpful. That is kind of my take on pulse. It is a very nice to have feature, not always a must have feature. Well, no surprises here. This nice big Bbw Cup produced a silver weld, basically a color-free weld. I averaged 38 amps there. That's exactly what I was using without pulse. And so let's take a look at that one. We want to take it out of the fixture and examine the back side, make sure you got 100% penetration all the way from end to end, all the way from tack to tack. Front side looks good. You can almost tell, but you can never tell 100% without looking at the back side. Let's take a look at that. First, I just want to admire this fixture for just a second and thank Adam once again for working with me on the collaboration, building this fixture for me. It's awesome. So out of respect for Adam and all his machinist fans, I am using a socket on these things this time instead of an adjustable wrench. We'll take a look at it here. Full penetration like we want from tack to tack. That's the goal. No discoloration, except out there on the very edges where the chill bars meet, but that's far enough from the weld to be acceptable for any code. And it kept it fairly flat. All right, as most of you know, I support these videos through sales of my online store at weldmonger.com. I don't add products to that store lightly. I try things out. I don't add anything that I don't like, that I haven't used already and tried out. These products, the JAZZY 10, this clear BBW, this dual flow meter from Flame Tech, as well as the new TIG welding gloves that I recently added to my store, are all things that I have tried out, thoroughly vetted, and recommend. You see, this one's got a seamless palm. I tried many different pairs of gloves before I found these. So thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. Again, you can learn more about these products at weldmonger.com.